Hello and welcome back to modeling the semi-truck. In this part of the tutorial we're going to look at creating the wheels. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the side view here and let's look at this wheel. Actually, let's look at one of the reference pictures that I have here first. This is actually one of the few real photos I found on the internet, strangely enough. But this shows a pretty good view of the tire here. And you can see that we have some detail here as far as around the tire. Of course, the tire treads, the tire tread itself, and the lug nuts and all that good stuff. And if you look at the tires in the rear, they are different. They're a little bit more fancy. I'm not going to go into detail in this tutorial on making them different. I'm just going to keep them the same. Feel free to change that if you need to. Okay, so we're going to go into side view here and just place your 3D cursor right in the center of that tire the best you can. Something like that. And I'm going to do a Shift A and create a cylinder. And then before you do anything with that cylinder, go into your tools menu and just make these like 60 vertices. That should be plenty enough, I hope. And I'm going to do a RY90 to rotate it. Turn on wireframe mode and scale that down right to the size of the wheel. And if we go into the front view, scale along the x-axis. And that's kind of skinny, but we're going to extrude the edges so that we can get the outer part of that. But before we do that, go into edit mode and let's go ahead and add our edges that will be the tread marks. So I'm going to do Control R and start rolling the mouse wheel. Let's see, that's going to be 1. Okay, that'll be 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think 7 is probably good enough. And just deselect out of that so it's in the center. Go into vertex mode and do an Alt select to grab those vertices and a Shift Alt select to grab these. And then you want to do an E extrude, select out of there and just scale X. And just bringing these out kind of where they should be, and then just scale them down. Like so. And we're starting to get our tire. Do not go in and make this black or anything yet, this tire, because if you do, you won't be able to see the geometry that you need to see. So let's go back into our side view here and go into face mode and just select these outer faces and delete them. Back into vertex mode, and we just want to grab these, Alt select that area, and do an E extrude and scale it down. And do I want more than one? Yeah, actually I'd probably, let's just scale it to about right there. and just pull it out a little bit. Something like that. And E-extrude again, scale it down to about right there. And this one you want to actually bring in a little bit, just to kind of get that look of the tire there. And kind of the same thing on the back, but it's not as crucial because you shouldn't really see it that well. So I'm just going to do E-extrude, scale it down a little bit, bring it out, E-extrude, scale it, and go into my view here so I can see where that's at. So that's part of the tire there, but we need to do the tread, so let's tab, or actually turn on our solid view here, and let's do a Shift H to get rid of everything else out of the way so we can see what we're doing. One to go in the front view, and we're going to make our tread. And this is how I think I'm going to do it. If all things are equal, which I hope they are, I'm going to select, I'm in wireframe mode so I can select all the way through, and I'm just going to C-select every other bit of vertices here, a row of vertices. Okay, let's go into 7 top view. And good, it was so it equaled out correctly. And that's the whole tire there. So let's go into front view again. And what we're going to do is we are going to just move these over on the x-axis. Just a little bit like that. And then what you need to do is select all the other ones. And maybe an easy way to do that, let's see if this works. Let's just do a Control-I. And then you can mouse wheel select these areas, and you don't have to go through and select all those. So once you have those selected, then you just want to move them back the other way like that. So if we look at it, there's our tread, and what we're going to do is go into face mode, and just going to Alt select this, Shift Alt select, Shift Alt select, Shift Alt select, Shift Alt select, and we're going to do a E-extrude, but I'm going to zoom in a little bit and just E, select out of that and scale down, not too much. See what that looks like. Okay, so not too bad. There's a tire. You could actually have left them straight if you wanted to. But if you want tread on there, that's one way to do it. Seems like I've done this before and I found out another easy way to do it, but anyway, that's probably a fairly easy way to work with that. So there's our tire. We can actually go ahead and go into our materials and assign it material. We don't want to assign it the specularity because, I mean, unless you armor all your tires, they're not really usually very shiny, and it looks plasticky and fake to me. So what I do is I'm going to add a new material, and I'm going to call this black flat, for flat black. And I'm going to make it black, of course, or almost completely black. And I'm just going to leave it diffuse for right now. And if you want to, you can change your viewport color to match. And there's our new material. So let's go back, and we want to do the rim. And we need to kind of pay attention to how many holes are in this. This part right here is probably designates the lug nuts, so don't have to worry too much about those because we're going to be adding those separate. But we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I want the end cap of the cylinder to have at least 10 of these sections. So I'm just going to do a Shift A and create another cylinder. And without changing anything, let's go back to our Tools menu. We definitely don't need it to have 60 vertices. So we're going to knock those down to like, let's knock it down to 12 because we're going to end up actually subsurfing this anyway. And we're going to change the cap fill type off of N-Gon to triangle fan. And radius, that's fine. Actually, as I'm thinking about it, the number of vertices is going to be the number of different triangles we have in there. So we could go ahead and just do 10. I think we can get away with that. Okay, T out of that. Do RY 90 and Z so we can see what we're doing, and just scale that down just so it kind of fits in the general area where it's supposed to be. And going to our one view, front view, and we're just gonna, don't want to scale it that way, SX, scale it down. And just try to make it fit evenly with the lip of your tire. So something like that. And tab into edit mode, and I'm just going to select these faces and delete them. And actually, let's go ahead and remove these. It'll be easier to extrude. You'll see what I'm saying. We go into vertex mode, just alt select that edge there, and I'm going to do an E extrude and then scale down to, let's say it's the top of these hole cutouts, and E extrude and scale down to what would be the bottom. Let's go into our wireframe so we can see what we're doing. Okay, and then E extrude, scale down to this circle, and again E extrude down to here, and E extrude down to here. And then really this is sort of a hubcap, so you're going to E extrude and come out, and E extrude and do an Alt M to merge those at the center. And we need to bring up, change the how these are showing. Let's go back to our picture here. So you can see there's actually kind of a lip right there, which would be the rim, the end of the rim. and this comes out a little bit. This area has kind of a indent in it, and then it probably comes out. Just kind of have to use some creative license there on what your rim's going to look like, or what you want it to look like. So, but the important thing right now is we want to get the holes. So let's choose faces, and we're just going to Alt select all around there, and go into your tools menu and come down here to your pivot center, and we want to change it to individual origins, and we're going to extrude individual, and then we're just going to scale after we select off of it, and kind of something like that. And at that point, just hit X and delete your faces. And as you can see, that's going to leave us some holes in there. I did not want to extrude up like that, so I made that mistake. Let me redo that. Okay, extrude individual, and then just click undo that. Okay, so are they extruded? No, they're not. Okay, so extrude individual, and as soon as you hit that, just click off of it so that it's flat, and then we're going to scale them, but we don't want to scale on the X, so just do a S Shift X. See how that looks. Probably maybe a little bit more. Scale, Shift X. And X, delete your faces. Okay, that's what we want. Then we'll want to create kind of a lip around the edge of the rim there. So let's go into vertex mode and just grab this, Alt select that area there, and then just bring it back. Zoom in so we can see what we're doing. And in fact, I'm going to bring it back this way a little bit. Then E extrude, scale it up, not quite that much. And then E extrude and scale it back, or move it back in. And you can go ahead and move it in quite a bit if you want to. And hopefully that will serve as our lip of the rim there. And then I think what I also want to do is I want to put kind of a indentation around here. So I need another set of edges around here, and or kind of like a loop cut, but you can't do, well, you can do a Control R, okay. That's good. You didn't used to be able to do that. So do a Control R and just add something like that, and go back into faces, and I'm going to Alt select this, and we need to turn off our individual origins, and I'm just going to choose medium point again, and I'm going to do an E extrude and just extrude it just a little bit, and E extrude again. And then actually probably I would even want to do like select this outer hub and do a E extrude, E extrude again, E extrude, scale it down a little bit and extrude it back up. And maybe even E extrude, bring it back up and then scale it down a little bit. Okay, so now we can get an idea of what this is going to look like by applying our subsurf modifier to it. And actually we need to go one more level, I guess. Okay, let's smooth it. So not too bad. These holes are a little bit more oval than what I would like them to be, but for our purposes here, it probably will work. You can actually, if you would like to fix that, I'll show you how. But I'm going to go into 3 here, and I just want to scale this whole thing up a bit so it fits the wheel more correctly. So you can see now we have kind of this nice round lip here, which is good. We have our hub there. One thing we don't have is we need to put in the lug nuts. And it looks to me also, one thing that I forgot is, I go into this view here, and I just need to select all of this around here. Need to pull this out a little bit. Because it's way too flat. And then maybe deselect this area here. Pull this out some more. Of course, now the stuff in the center looks kind of weird, so grab this. And I think I'm not getting all what I need here. There we go. A little bit better. Okay, so what are we missing now? We're missing the lug nuts. We need a little bit of definition around here. So in order to do that, just do Control-R loop cut right here. Bring that down. And you can even put one here if you like. Get a little bit more definition there. So it looks something like that. And that enables us an area here to put our lug nuts. This area still looks kind of empty to me. What am I missing here? I guess because those holes are so, I didn't realize those holes were so taking up so much of that area there. And I wonder if that's something that we can change really quick. I think we probably actually can. Go back into the vertex mode. I'm going to Alt select this, X delete the edge loop. And I'm going to Shift Alt select this one, just so I have this here, and scale that down, and it's not going to work. Nope. Might be able to grab all of this. Okay, and just scale that down. let's look at the side here. Yeah, we need to bring that out a little bit. So maybe a little bit more correct there. It still doesn't look quite right as far as this, but it's a lot closer, I think. And again, really your preference on it. So let's go ahead and create the lug nuts. And in order to do that, I am going to do a Shift A, and let's create a cylinder. And let's go ahead and make this these vertices 6 for a hexagon, and change this to nothing for the cap. Do RY90, and there you have sort of a lug nut, but of course we need to scale it down quite a bit. So we can picture maybe something like that size, and just go in here and go into your tab mode, Alt select the edge and E-extrude, and maybe one more time, E-extrude, scale it, and then do an Alt M at center. Okay, instant lug nut. Nothing fancy, but there it is. So how many lug nuts do we have? Let's say 12. So let's come over here, go into our side view, and tab into object mode. And we need to make sure, we're going to spin this around the 3D cursor, so we need to make sure that this is, it has the scale applied. So just go to Object, Apply, Scale. And if you don't do that, you'll get some weird results sometimes if you try to spin it. So then when you go back into your edit mode, you want to select all and do spin. So right now it's at 90, and we can change this angle, but for some reason, is it not do? Okay, I need to duplicate. There we go. So we want 12, right? So put in 12, and then we need to change the angle, bring the angle up, and really too many. I think it's probably 10. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. Maybe still too many. But you can change it to how many ever you want. I'm just going to leave it as that. So that is our basic wheel, and you may want to go ahead and apply the chrome material to this. In fact, let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and go to our materials, because we already have the chrome material anyway, or what will be the chrome material. Okay, one thing I noticed is I didn't get these little indents here on the edge of the tire there, so let's do those real quick. All we really need to do is come in here and go into edit mode, choose faces, and let's select, Alt select here, and go back into your individual origins and do extrude individual, and click off of that immediately, and scale down something like that, and just do a E extrude, and just move them in. And that'll give you something similar to that. You can do a little bit, that a little bit better to make them look more correct, but I think that'll work for our needs. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to actually mirror this. So let's do an Alt-H, bring everything back in. And then we can choose this, or choose our tire, and go into our modifiers, add a mirror modifier. And I'm going to mirror along, well, actually we're going to use the mirror object, make it easy on ourselves that we created earlier, the empty mirror. And voila, we have instant tire. But we do need our rim also over there. So just like that, add the mirror modifier. Same thing, we want to mirror along the empty. And there we go. So then at this point, go back into our side view. We can shift select all that. Go into our wireframe mode and just do a Shift D. Shift D. I'm not sure what I hit there, but anyway. So just move it over to where we need to be here. Another Shift D. And Z back out of that, and there we have it. So our truck is actually starting to look like a truck. And of course we know these back wheels are kind of doubled, so what we can do is the same thing. Just, we can select all this, in fact, do a Shift D, go into top view and just move those over. And to save yourself on some polygon count, you can also, of course, take these separately and remove a lot of this interior of the tire, the rim and everything. What I've done in the past when I've done this is actually just put almost like a fake rim in there that doesn't have as much detail, just so you don't use up all, as much polys, but yet you might have something there that you can see. And actually it looks like I got these braces pretty close to where they need to be. I might need to move them over a little bit. In fact, I'll just do that now. Just probably something more like that. So let's save this real quick. I'm going to do a quick render, see what this looks like. And as you can see, we need to fix our chrome material to look more correct. But they definitely make the truck look more like a truck. Of course, our lighting is not that great here, but in the next part of the tutorial, what we're going to do is jump back on the cab and start correcting some of the things, or adding some of the things that we need to add, like the indentation of the hood is missing, so we need to add that, and also the headlights, and maybe fill this bumper in and do some work there, just as far as we can get with that. So I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.